rise for the pledge.
Of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call, Kathy. Here.
Elaine Waters, and Kristen Rose.
Here.
Here.
Thank you. Next item we have is a presentation of the agenda. Is there anything anybody would like to add in to the agenda tonight? I'd just like to add the under new business amendment to amendments. That's going to be item C, right after the approval of budget amendments. And everything else will just drop down appropriately. If nothing else, can I get a motion to approve the agenda as amended? So moved. Any support? Support. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? All right, motion carried. Thank you. Next. Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, I would also like to add under the approval of minutes, item 6, we need to add the May 8th special board meeting and also the March 2nd special budget workshop. So could I get a motion to accept the agenda as amended once again? So moved. Any support? Support. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? All right, thank you. Sorry about that. Next item we have tonight is public comment on agenda items only. First up, we have the fiscal year 24-25 fire and EMS budget second public hearing. A motion would be in order to call a public hearing to order. So moved. Support? Support. All in favor, say aye. Aye. 702. This is the second presentation of the fire fiscal year 24-25 fire and EMS fund budget. Is there any public comment on the 24-25 fire and EMS fund budget? Hearing no public comment, is there any further board discussion regarding the fire and EMS fund budget? Hearing none, a motion would be in order to adjourn the public hearing on the fiscal year 24-25 fire and EMS fund budget.
Make that motion.
Any support? Support. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? All right, motion is carried. The next item we have is a swearing in of new EMTs. Jeff, the floor is yours.
Good evening. As I was getting my notes prepared here this evening, I had a local resident approach me that asked if he could just say a couple of words about the EMS this evening before we did the swearing. So I'm going to invite him to the podium at this time.
Yes. Yeah, hi, my name is T.J. Tomlinson, live over on Irving Road by the fire lane. I was here last time you guys did your ceremony, and I didn't speak up then. I waited until afterwards, and I wanted to do it in front of all the EMSs and EMTs and stuff. 2020, during the height of the pandemic in June, I was working on my garden fence, and I bumped into a beehive, and they attacked me. Okay, I got sworn on my bees, and I'm fighting them off and everything. I go around the front, being very careful not to kill them, trying to brush them off. It's just the way things are. Anyway, I got inside, and it didn't feel real well. Started going downhill a little bit and talked to my wife and my boy who was staying with us at the time. And they were going to take me over to Richmond here, and I just kept getting worse and worse. And anyway, to make a long story short, maybe not too short, but I ended up passing out while the EMTs who were brought over to my house. I guess they got in the driveway from what I understand. My voice said I was foaming at the mouth and nose and everything else and stuff like that. I was completely out of it. Anyway, gentleman Spencer, who didn't know his last name for all these years, and Rachel was my partner that day. They came in apparently, and I know when I woke up, Spencer was working on me. And turns out that I was down like 2 breaths a minute, I guess. I know when they took me down to the emergency room, but by that time they had to stay on it. I don't know what they did. They did a bunch of stuff, even intravenous Benadryl and stuff like that on the way down. But when I got down there, the ER doctor told me I had about 2 minutes to live at that point. And that when he looked at the report, what Spencer had done, he did everything exactly like the ER doctor would have done if he was there. So having that EMT was just as good as having an emergency room doctor at that time. That's why I'm here today, actually. I wouldn't have made it otherwise. It's a long drive down to Garfield, you know, if you're not breathing. So, wish Spencer was here, I guess he's working right. He is, right? It took a long time to get, but it's better to have more people here than, you know. But anyway, just wanted to thank him and you guys, again, some people might prefer if I wasn't here, you know, but from my standpoint, you know, I appreciate it very much. That's all I'm gonna say. Thanks, everybody.
So, wow, what a night. In all the years that we've done swearing in, we've had some nice crowds here, but we have never filled the township hall. So thank you to everyone for being here, and thank you to the board for allowing us to swear in these new EMS professionals this evening. This is an interesting group for me. And it's interesting for this reason. I've got new members here whose fathers I served with. I've got members here who I met shortly after they were born. And I think all of that might just be making me feel a little bit older. But it really is a testament to the EMS and the way we've grown it in this community. When I say we, I mean all of us, the township board, my leadership, Denny Spence, who's here with me tonight. It really is a testament to what we've done over the last 30 plus years. To the board, this is really our future. They have many more years of serving you in front of them than I do. That's hard to say, but that is the truth from where I stand. And so we should appreciate all of them for the fact that they have come and joined our organization. To the families that are here, I just want to say thank you for allowing us to take them, your family members away on birthdays and anniversaries and holidays and other important family events because we have to operate 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. And sometimes that means inconvenience and pain for families, as well as for our staff who can't be there for a child's birthday or another important event in their life. At the EMS, we have a simple phrase that we take care of our own. And while it sounds simple, what that means is it is our job to make certain, and I'm assuring you as family members, that we will do all in our power to keep your family members safe and secure, and in fact, keep all of you safe and secure. With that, I'm going to go ahead and call up the professionals that are here this evening to be sworn in. We've asked them to bring up a member or a couple members of their family to assist with the swearing in, and once we get everybody up here, we'll administer an oath, and then we will ask the family members to actually pin the new hire. So with that, I'm going to go ahead and call them forward in no specific order except how they were laid out here. So Rebecca Napier. EMT Gavin Yelenich. Interestingly, a couple of these I'm just going to comment on just for interest of history here. On the EMS documents that created us in 1975, this year, next year we'll celebrate 50 years of service to the community. The gentleman's name on that document is Joe Yelenich. So this is really come full circle. Evan Soltis. Dan Junad. Drew Rindell. Drew's father, the assistant fire chief for Richmond, is here with us this evening. And when I talk about starting with somebody, he was one of the first people that was brought into the EMS when I started many years ago. Cole Ferguson. Greg Burns. Leanne Sotero. And Madison Davis. The board talks frequently about the growth of the organization. These young men and women are the growth of the organization. Denny and I don't grow it. We only grow it with young, dedicated, and committed professionals. At this point, I'm just going to read you all the oath. I'll ask you to say some I do's after that, and then we'll ask your families to pin you. If when we pin you, you can turn around this way so that the board can watch that as it occurs. I think we have some folks walking around taking some photos as well. As EMS professionals, we regard ourselves as members of an important and time-honored profession. As such, we administer to our employees an oath at the conclusion of their probationary period. The purpose of the oath is to ensure our citizens that we will conduct ourselves in a manner that will be a credit to the township and the ambulance authority. Colleagues, please raise your right hand and answer I do the following question. I recognize at all times I am a public servant and that ultimately I am responsible for the safety and well-being of myself, my colleagues, and all citizens. I will accept responsibility for my actions by exhibiting honesty and integrity. I will promote diversity within our organization and ensure fair and open access to all who call for service. I will observe the highest principles of fairness and strive to meet those values which reflect honor upon the township, the EMS, and myself. I will seek to maintain and improve my professional knowledge, skills, and competence. And he does as well. Now, do you swear to follow and uphold all the department SOPs, county medical treatment protocol, state and federal laws, as well as the state of Michigan and U.S. Constitution? Finally, do you affirm you will not permit or cause any employer or agent acting on your behalf to do anything which would constitute a violation of this oath? Family, if they can all turn towards the board and as you can, and pin your candidates. Township board members and citizens at large, on behalf of Richmond Lennox Township Ambulance Authority, it is my privilege to formally present to you these sworn professionals who I now attest are fully prepared to serve you and our citizens. Thank you all very much. Make your way around and shake hands with the members of the board. As for the families and the candidates go, once that is concluded, that concludes the formal part of our presentation tonight. We've already briefed you on kind of we have a little reception afterwards. We hope you will all join us for that. There is an ambulance out front if you want to take pictures of it, and some of the youngsters that are here want to climb through it. If you've never seen the inside of one of our life support vehicles is out front for you to take a look at as you leave. But you are all at this point dismissed with our thanks. And again, thank you for being here.
Any other public comments on agenda items? Hearing none, we'll move on to the approval of minutes from the May 8th, 2024 regular board meeting, the May 8th, 2024 special board meeting, the May 15th, 2024 special board meeting with Recreation Advisory Board, and the March 2nd special election. Motion to approve minutes.
So moved.
Your support?
Support.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All right, motion is carried, thank you. Next item we have tonight is the consent agenda. We have the building department report, EMS report, office manager report, and the planning commission report. Is there anything anybody would like to move to the consent agenda tonight? Hearing none, take a motion to accept the consent agenda as presented.
I'll make that motion.
Do you support?
Support.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right, motion carried. Next item we have tonight are the financial report. Has everybody reviewed your bills and checks tonight? Or have any questions?
No.
Questions? Okay. If there's no questions, can I get a motion to approve and pay bills as presented?
So moved.
Your support?
Support.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right, motion is carried. Next item we have is the treasurer's report.
In the general fund fire funds, we have $1,459,611.30. Tax disbursement account, $65,440.25. Recreation funds, $439,973.58. The investments accounts are currently at $246,219.45. Available funds at North Star, $7,797.30. PDR account currently has $18,030.89. The other accounts total $7,407.23 for a grand total of $2,244,480. We did settle with the county, actually closer to on time this year than last year, so that's good. We should be getting our settlement check hopefully in the next couple of weeks. We did make some changes to the way that we did tax bills this year, and I'm going to ask my deputy to come up and address the board and explain what we did.
Good evening, everyone. We have decided this year to go with ACI to prepare and send out our tax bills. Christine, our assessor, has told me for a couple of years she highly recommends them. I had a hard time giving them control, and finally I said, we'll look into the cost. I don't know exactly. There's a savings. I don't know exactly what it's going to be this year because they had to do some artwork to our tax bill. The tax bills will basically look the same as they always do. It'll be in the neighborhood of $1,000 to $1,200 cheaper. but it does a couple of things. It's a very labor-intensive process to do this. Jan and Chris spend an enormous amount of time stuffing envelopes, putting stamps on. It's very labor-intensive. This will free them up. They won't have to do that anymore. All KCI does everything. They send them out, they do everything. We use them now for our assessing notices. When you get your assessing notice in the mail, it comes from KCI. So it's not people, hopefully, will see a very easy flow from when we mail them to when KCI mails them out. They should go out, KCI has them scheduled to go out on June 28th. Should be plenty of time. And if any residents or anything have any questions or problems, anything, they can reach out to me at any time. I'll be gladly answer any of their questions. But hopefully it's a cost savings for us, and the girls will, be able to continue with their regular work and not stuff tax bills, as I'm sure they're really hard working on. But I think it'll work really good. So we're going to give her a go and see what happens.
Thank you so much. Any other questions for the treasurer today?
It's Casey, I see.
Mayor, any guesses what it stands for?
No.
Okay, I will get back with you. I always just know it was KCI, and they have numerous community teams around the state of Michigan that they do, and I actually, this was, Tom's idea, and came to me, and I threw all those questions, what, and he kept coming back, and I go, well, the last one, I was concerned with the fact that we have property owners in the township that, they might own 20 different properties, and currently what we do is we will separate their tax bills out and we will put them in one big envelope and give them to them. And I said, I was very hesitant. That was one thing that concerned me. And he said, well, they're going to get these the same way they get their assessment notices. So they don't get their assessment notices all together, they won't get their tax bill. They'll get it just like they get their assessment notices. So, that was one concern I had, but I don't think there's too much complaining about how they get their assessment notices. I've heard that, so I'm hoping it will be the same for these. $1,000 is a fair amount of money, to save. And like I said, we were in Friday. I got the last L4029 for Richmond schools on Friday. Tom and I were in here Friday, prepping the tax program, putting all of those in, sent them over a zip file, and they needed Tom to do some additional artwork for them on Monday, which he did. So, they're due out by July 1st, and they'll be sent out the 28th, and we'll find out shortly thereafter if it's going to be a problem. And if it is, we can revert back.
They do literally hundreds of communities in the state.
I have a comment to make to the treasurer and the deputy treasurer. It was so nice that you guys brought point and play into the townships equation. Is that what it is?
Yeah.
Point and play. They did it for taxes. Now everybody can use your credit card if you want to do it. However, at some point, I knew they were going to start overflowing into everything else, which would affect my side of the checkbook, and I was scared of that. And it's working like a charm. It's great. So anybody that's out there is not aware of it, it's a great way to pay for your stuff. We are in the new century.
We are.
Excellent. Any other questions for treasurer before we move on? Okay, hearing none, treasurer's report will stand as presented. Thank you. Next item we have is farming preservation.
The only thing we have another application for the next cycle coming in. The application is due July 12th. It presently is in the hands of the Macomb Conservation District. The township has already done their portion of it. But I may have to call you guys in for a special meeting to approve this. The board has to approve that we are interested in, buying this, this piece of property, which try to text them on. Shouldn't be a problem. And anyways, if I do, all we got to do is just call a special meeting, come in, vote on that. Oh, I'll keep you.
When would the special meeting, when will we have to do that by?
Well, it's got to be in by July 12th, so it's going to have to be somewhere either the end of this month or the first part of July.
Okay.
And as soon as I get this back from Conservation District, but they're kind of all over the place, so.
Keep us posted on.
Yeah. Other than that, I don't have anything else to report.
Okay. Any questions for Bert? Okay, thank you, Bert. Next item we have tonight is building report. Yeah.
Good evening again. The one item that I have for the board's agenda tonight is a quote that we obtained for basically a panic or something they call a bank alarm here for the township offices. I was approached by the township supervisor and deputy supervisor about obtaining a quote. I think after some situations that occurred where people come in and I will tell you, we do what we do every day. As much as we like to think we live in a nice, quiet, little farming community, there are people out there that for various reasons seem to occasionally act out in frightening sort of ways. Whether those frightening sort of ways are something that they would carry out in the form of violence or not is usually not known until it's too late. And so the supervisor and deputy supervisor asked if I would obtain a quote for a system that would allow for, like you say, a panic alarm, so if a button was pushed, that would get law enforcement here very quickly in that event. What I learned in the process, there really isn't a system that just comes with a panic alarm, if you will. A panic alarm has to be monitored, so that there's a monitoring feed that goes along with that. And all of the systems come as part of a little bit bigger security package. In other words, they have sensors on, that come for the doors and some of the glass areas in the building and what have you. In order to monitor those for a break-in that might occur at night or after hours or on weekends when it's here. Also, maybe not such a bad idea. But there's not just a panic alarm you can buy by itself. The good news about these systems is, for the most part, they're all wireless these days, so they're actually less expensive than they have been for quite a while. So they don't have to come in and run cable. It all runs, wirelessly within the building. So the equipment cost for the panic alarm system basically was $1,088 with a 2-year monitoring agreement at $28 a month, for a total of $672. So the total cost to implement this would be $1,760 for the first 2 years. And then after that, it would be just the monitoring fee. So after that, you only have the $28, or if it goes over 2 years, the $29 a month cost to monitor. You wouldn't need any more hardware, if you will, at that point. The equipment is basically its own cell system for, it would be the best way to describe it, so you don't need a separate cell phone. It doesn't tie into your current phone lines at the building. It is basically self-contained. There'd be a keypad with the system by the employee entrance door, and you would just have to arm and disarm the system if you're the first person in or the last person out, basically, of the building, to make sure it's working. So when somebody comes in the morning, if they don't punch in a code, the system's going to call and think you're an intruder. So the codes are, usually determined by the folks, and it's usually just 4 digits to punch in. So that is the quote for just that. Well, in looking at it, because we all like to think, and really for the most part should think, that Richmond Township is a safe place to live, and bad things don't happen here, and bad people don't come in. We've all become a little complacent, and myself included. And the door to the office area where the girls work is seldom to never shut when I come in, which would make a
security system and a panic alarm by itself, in my opinion, not worth spending money. Because if you're going to keep the building, the area unsecured where somebody can run in, you're really not providing any additional safety. We do have glasses everybody's aware across the counter area. But keep in mind that glass is in no way bulletproof, shatterproof, or otherwise stopping anybody from throwing a chair through or a table through, let alone any kind of a firearm situation. That was put there to prevent coughing. It was put there during the COVID pandemic. It has no security value whatsoever. I think if we're going to do this, it would be reasonable to look at how we secure that door or force the door to be secured. So really there's two options. One is you just tell your, well, there's three options. One is you tell your staff to close and lock the door and don't actually do it. One is to put a closer on the door and, set the door to a locked position. So at least it closes every time. Again, inexpensive option as long as they're willing to get up and unlock the door every time they want to let a resident back. Or the other option, which I just provided a cost for in case it was of interest to the board, was to put an actual closer on the door that would then open via a button that the staff would push. To let, we've all been through those, to let a person on the outside pass through that door and then come into the office area. That to me seems the most likely to be regularly used. But again, those are decisions for the board to make. There are some cheaper alternatives if we can count on everybody to be vigilant about keeping that door shut.
With all that presented, Cindy, how do you feel about?
I just had, I guess, some questions.
Sure.
Was there a particular incident that led to this?
Not particularly. We had a meeting with a resident that got a little loud one day, and it just got a couple of us thinking. I know in the past we had somebody come in and mess up the board, and somebody else threatening other municipalities in the area.
I had a shotgun pulled on me once when I was here by myself.
Oh, right.
$8 an hour.
Right. So, I mean, there has been some instances, some minor, some not so minor, but I just got to thinking, what do we have in our office that would help protect, the girls behind the glass? But, again, with the door being closed would be huge too, but I just got to thinking about panic buttons, alarms, anything. I don't know, rather than trying to grab a cell phone, try to open it.
I think it's a great idea. If we're going to do it, I think we need a panic button.
Okay.
Because I think, as Jeff commented, you're going to have to count that everybody's going to remember to close that door, and most of the time it might happen, but who knows on a one day, if they don't, that might be the day they need to. So.
Sure. I like the closer idea on the door, that way the door's always going to be closed. That way you're not forgetting to close it or whatever, so. Kathy?
I tend to agree with that. I mean, for the most part, that door's open. We accept so many deliveries through the front. But they're the same people that take over, so why can't they come to the back?
Sure.
It would lessen opening the door. You know what I mean?
Right.
Because that's.
I'm not saying it couldn't be open, it just
Right.
wouldn't be left open.
Right. I mean, that's when I see it, that it does get left open.
Right.
After the deliveries,
Right.
That they shut up and go.
Right.
I don't think we're that much though.
Right.
The people who work here, I think if they feel that it's needed, I'm not, definitely not against it.
Okay.
But, so we would put a thing just on this door here, on that one door.
Yeah, I would think so. I mean, I think we could work on keeping this door
Yeah.
shut. Like this door, it would take a minute, somebody to figure out to get back in here by then. Hopefully they got time to push the panic button and other things. But my suggestion would be this door should probably remain closed during the day locked. There's really no reason for the public to ever come through this back way. And I know there's a lot of reasons for the board, for the employees that have to come through this.
Yes.
So I mean, I think, like I say, everybody needs security. I think we have to look at that door, but I think that's an easy shut and lock situation. And I think for this front door, if you want, so the panic button is the button that you push if you need it. The door closer is, and I just want the board to be clear in what they want to do moving forward. So the panic button and the security for the total security package for the building is $1,760. The closer system with a button to just let that door open when they want to is an additional $1,188. It's not, or we could do the panic button, put a mechanical closer on the door, that's just like what's on the doors. But then it would be incumbent on the board for it to be all useful. Tell the girls you have to keep locked, which means every time somebody comes to it, they have to get up from their desk, walk around. And if we don't think that's a practical thing that they're going to do, then I would do phase one. Because I think they're leaving a bit of security for the kind of the panic button's only as good as the area that they're in being somewhat secure.
Right.
So I mean, if you wanted to do both, the total cost is then $1,760 plus $1,188.30.
I'm not so sure we would need like a button to unlock the door, honestly. I don't know how the board feel about that. Obviously, the payment button system, I'm on board with. What about the second part of that?
My feeling is if we're gonna do something, we should just do it all. I mean, I get, if we expect ladies in the office to get up and go to that door, I mean, some days they might never have to do it, but
Right.
some days they might be super busy at election time or during taxes or something of that nature where they, for some reason, people want to come on this side, and they have to get up a lot. So I would be in favor of the entire, what Jeff said, the entire package.
Cost-wise, how would we look at it?
Cost-wise, if we can, either way, we'll get it out of capital outlay. There's
Okay.
still a little bit
Well,
left in there. This, and you get, June 30th, I don't know if that's possible.
I don't know if there's anything you're going to get by June 30th at this point.
I was
I
wondering that
asked the
too.
question, but it's June 12th already, and
And the building
by the
take a
time
while.
the equipment get here, get installed, I'm just not sure that's
We'll
very
wait
realistic.
to get that closer.
If everybody's on board with that, get a motion to approve Jeff to move forward with both phases of the panic security system for the cost of about $3,000. Not to exceed $3,000. Okay, get a motion.
I'll make that motion.
I'll support that motion.
All in favor, say aye. Aye.
Thanks.
Perfect. All right, thank you.
I will get that started tomorrow, and I'll keep the board aware as to when, the installation will actually happen. Then Kevin or I will coordinate that as the day approaches. I'm going to depart tonight. We do have a little reception for any hires after the swearing in, so I'm going to join.
Okay.
Thank you so very much.
Thank you. Okay, next item we have tonight is the assessor's report. Is there anything you would like me to take back to Christine this month?
Just to thank Christine for all her help during this hour.
I will.
Once again, she was a rock star and I appreciate her.
Perfect. All right, thank you so much. All right, here we go. We move on to the library report. Which I do not have anything from Molly on the library. Other than your cards for you. I know she says everything. Any questions about library that I should look into to take back? Okay, I hear none. We'll move on to the recreation report.
So I'll be brief because we have the main item on the agenda. Later, just wanted to remind everybody the kite flying contest is moved to September 28th. I'm going to try to get that updated on the Facebook page, actually, hopefully this week. And then, again, with Mr. Drew, thank the township board for attending that meeting. And we will talk about that further down the agenda.
Okay.
And that's it.
Okay, any questions for Cindy for recreation before we move on? Okay, hearing none, then we'll move on to the NENC report. I have no new news to follow other than what was provided tonight. Anything anybody would like me to take back to that board? Okay, hearing none, we'll move on down to unfinished business. First item we have is the bridge funding update. Do you not have anything new on that?
I've heard nothing new either.
It's been quiet.
I've heard nothing from them. Yeah.
I think we'll continue to leave it on just as a reminder.
Yep. I'm hoping to hear something positive soon.
Sure. We'll continue to just check in on that topic.
I thought I did hear the county might have gotten some more grant money from the federal government, so we're going to put some of that more after this.
That would be great.
It would be awesome.
Okay. Okay, moving down to the GFL discussion. A motion would be in order to open discussion.
So moved.
Is support? Support. Okay, so as you all know, I think I sent an email. I was contacted, I think just last week, about priority waste is going to be buying out GFL effective July 1st. Priority will be our waste haul provider for Richmond Township. Not much we can do about it. I don't know the reason behind it. It just seems like a global type of buyout. But what we're faced with is, as you recall, a couple months ago, I brought a proposed contract from GFL to the board with a couple different costs on it, both of them being a little bit of an increase from our current rates, but we are coming out of a 10-year contract, so we had to expect a little bit of increase. And we proposed weekly recycling versus bi-weekly recycling, and we had a survey out for that, and then this priority came up. So what we're faced with, I guess, and I need some direction from the board, is do we want to approve one of the two options proposed by GFL at this meeting, or do we want to table that and try to negotiate something with priority waste prior to their table?
Honorable Supervisor, I don't know if this is okay, and if he would be willing to. Could we speak perhaps to city manager or
You're willing, yeah.
or be okay with that? Okay. Would you mind? We know that you just went through some of this, and if you could offer us any insight at all as to how you felt about them as a company, your negotiated price with them.
I can just kind of go through our story.
That'd be great.
Our contract was ending June 30th. We had tried to get a proposal from WM, who's waste control now. They had given us a proposal. They had drastically changed the kind of nature of the service. Currently, we're able to either purchase or lease the 96-gallon carts from WM, or you can buy your own garbage can, or you can just put up bags. WM is transitioning their communities to a service where they will only pick up trash put out in the 96-gallon carts. And so our council looked at the proposal. That did have an increase, again, with the cost of everything. That was understandable, but it was more, we went out and saw other proposals due to kind of the service changes, which I understand what they're trying to accomplish. But we just didn't feel our community would be well receiving of those changes. So we did get proposals from both GFL and Priority. And about a week before we went to the city council, I had my background brief already drafted with a review of all three proposals. I did receive a call from GFL stating that as of July 1st, all of their residential contracts will be sold to Priority. The good thing for us was that Priority was the low proposal on our end. Ours was more of a desire to kind of maintain the level of service we currently have. And so, in speaking with both GFL and Priority, I thought both of their proposals were fine and acceptable. Priority was a lower cost. GFL, in my conversation with GFL, they indicated that the city could approve their proposal with the understanding that come July 1st, it will be owned by Priority. And so, and I think that's what Chris is saying, is that you could accept the proposal from GFL, and you have to, I'm just saying that's my thought.
Right.
Right, they don't fit in or anything. At least as it was explained to me by the Don Beretta, who I worked with, or was getting the proposal from GFL, is that up until council made their decision, they could have selected GFL with the understanding that come July 1st, it would really be owned by Priority.
So
when I talked to other communities that had Priority, I did get good
you did.
feedback from
Okay.
obviously, anytime you change a big contract like that, there's going to be bumps in the road. We anticipate that there will. We're working with priority to try and minimize those, but we understand that there will be. But, you know, at least from the communities that I contacted, in particular, Baltimore, because they're close, and then that I also spoke with, both indicated they were very satisfied with the service.
Did they provide their own buckets?
We're working that out with them right now.
Okay.
From my understanding, that kind of hinges on, and I don't know what it would be in your case, if you currently got GFL, correct?
Yeah, we have GFL, which we approved the contract for Rizzo, and then the wheels fell off the wagon literally 4 hours later.
Right. And so that would be something to talk to Priority and GFL about, but I'm assuming with them purchasing the contract that they're likely just going to assume those carts. When I spoke with Priority, they indicated that, in like the case of Richmond, where we have the recycling carts provided by WM, sometimes WM decides to take those and Priority will then replace them with Priority carts. Sometimes the cost of doing that, the age of the carts, they just decide to leave them there, and then Priority will just utilize those carts until they wear out and then replace them with the Priority carts.
Okay.
That's pretty much what Priority told me too yesterday. They said it'll be a real slow transition. The only difference you'll see is the feed on the side of the truck. And then eventually they'll start making the trucks, they'll start changing the brand, and then eventually start changing the colors. It's going to take a long time to.
So do you know if Priority is currently doing any other rural areas, any other townships? I mean, we're a totally different beast. They might have to drive half a mile between the house on gravel road, so obviously their fuel cost is going to be a lot more. It's a different scenario. Did they tell you, are they doing other townships in the area? Have other townships switched to them, or?
None that I can compare to us. I know Clinton Township's just switching over, but we can't really compare us to Clinton Township. So I don't know any rural type communities that they're serving yet.
I seen a news clip, and they control 50%, it was either 50 or 60% of Michigan. They're servicing.
Priority?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Have they been around for a long time? Do you know?
I think they've been around, I don't know the time, I know they've been around more in the southern end of the county, more the city areas.
And that's where the news clip was downtown.
Okay. Yeah, I don't know how long they've invited all of us down to their facilities there, the township to tour it, and they'd be happy to show us around anytime. And
I've never heard of them.
Have they seen our current contract with GFL?
they have not.
They have not.
They have not.
I guess for me,
As far as I know, unless GFL shared that with them, I don't know.
I would like to get their input on if they would honor the contract in the same verbiage exactly that we have with GFL. Yeah, and, you know,
I would let them present us with all their contract.
Right.
I would,
Directly with Priority.
I would go, deal directly with Priority. GFL is out of the picture, they're out of the picture.
Right.
right.
I wouldn't look at their contract for anything. I would go strictly with Priority and say, hey, what's the deal?
I just want to make sure, I feel like if we, were to renew with GFL, obviously they're being taken over, but if they're going to honor the same price, the price that you brought back to us, that, we had a choice between with the recycling issue.
Priority might be lower though.
And that's what I'm wondering. I would like to know if they would be less money. Of course, I still would like to see them keep our, our cleanup day issues. We get some dumpsters from them and trailer dumpsters, and I just would like to make sure that those things are included in the contract as well. We have a couple of other little things that I just would like to make sure that they honor.
Okay.
And I feel like they would, but
I feel like they would too. If they came with them and said, we're genuinely concerned about this, here's what was proposed to us before. Can you give us your direct proposal with at least the same services, and what can you do on the cost?
and so our contract is up July 30th, did you say, or June 30th?
Our GFL contract expires at the end of the year. I think it's December 30th or 31st. However, the GFL is only GFL for us through June 30th. So as of July 1st, priority will be servicing the township. But our GFL contract, the 10-year contract expires at the end of this year.
They're gonna honor the contract till the end of the year.
Correct.
Then they're gonna have to come up with something different.
Yes.
So I think we got some time to, you know,
Right.
once this is set down.
It's gonna happen, it's gonna happen.
Sure.
Yeah, start talking with them now and see what they're thinking.
And then you have, your 6 months to see if, I don't know if we're gonna do that deal or not.
Yeah.
Because of the RFP, put it out there, be waste management.
We did that before, and then they get bought out the next day from.
That's what I said, I said, wait, it was,
Oh,
It's deflating.
it was awful. Let's just say that, it was awful.
yeah.
Agreed. Okay, so what I'm hearing then from the board is to table a decision on the contract. Let me take our current contract back to priority.
Since we have till December,
Right.
Yeah.
to make the final decision, even though in real life, they're going to be doing work on this big stuff.
Correct.
Okay.
And then see what priority can bring back to us as a new contract. Sound good? All right. Fantastic. So that's table, there's no action to really be taken, right? So we will move on then to the drain discussion. Well, this is different than our new business item. I know they've been working over by your place, haven't they, Brian?
They've got the long drain all brushed to the end,
Okay.
but they have like their last section there. We talked to the guy when they were working there, the county guy said, yeah, they're gonna come back in, deepen that a little bit too.
Okay.
But they've done pretty good work. I really like the work they've done so far,
Okay.
and they are working on it. Now, whether they've worked on any of the other drains, now, because when they were here, they thought they'd be able to do more than just the log drain.
Sure.
Maybe they could go up on Pratt Road and do some of that.
Right, so the cheaper.
Not a shaper drain. So whether they've done any up there, any more work up there, I don't know.
Right.
But
They haven't worked on it.
they have been working on the log drain
Okay.
and doing pretty good work.
Good. Okay. Any concerns, any discussion with the board?
I'm sorry, say again?
Any concerns or questions I can take back to Jane?
No, just a comment, I had, Kathy submitted a copy of something from the Drain Commission last year when we did the 12.5. They actually, the total amount of work that was done was $35,000. So, I'm encouraged and hopeful for this year, since we put the $25,000 for it, we may get $70,000
Yeah.
worth of work. I don't know how much that will be, as he told us at the last meeting, it all depends on, how many tree roots are in drain and what that looks like. I don't know.
He's doing his best to make that go as far as humanly possible. So,
Is this the time to talk about the one where the cone is out front? Or
Bring it
should
up.
I do it at
oh, we can go. I will get it out.
the, Jeff put the cone on it, but he was out mowing the lawn. And it's right out here at the intersection. And he noticed there was just a lot of weeds there, so he got some weed killer, killed it all off. But then he noticed the culvert that comes from across the road on the main highway to the school section. And then there's 2 drains that wash out from that culvert. There's a huge hole, and it would come up to my waist if I stepped in it. There's a hole in that culvert.
M19's over?
Yeah, the M19 comes and then it washes out into the front ditch along school section and then also here, right? But it's really on the shoulder. I mean, they're walking, not paying attention.
Right.
And before, it was just covered in weeds, you wouldn't even have known, now that the weeds are gone. He at least put the orange cone out there, so I don't know, the county know about that?
Yeah.
It's a pretty big hole.
It's county on that, and that's their highway, but I could let somebody know there.
Is that the county or MDOT?
I don't
Should be
know.
of that, protecting us.
Should be.
But you guys should all really go look at it, because it is on our property, kind of.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Any other questions, comments, or concerns on drains? Okay. Hearing none, we'll move down to new business. First item we have is the approval of the fiscal year 24-25 fire and EMS budget. The motion is in order to approve the budget as presented. item we have is the approval of budget amendments. Kathy has provided a list of the amendments in the package. Did everybody had an opportunity to review those?
The amendments weren't that bad this time, however, we still have a month to get through. I'm just keeping my fingers crossed we won't have any brackets and make the figures creep in there anywhere.
Okay, close.
Being close to the finish line.
Any questions for Kathy?
You know, one thing I did notice is next time I'll bring comparisons from the years. Their budgets or amendments are always in the same departments. Yeah. It's funny, maybe we need to bring them to our budget meeting and that way we can
Calendar day.
That's true.
check it a little higher than what we normally
Use
do.
that increase.
Sure. I mean, it's a good gauge.
Absolutely. Okay, good idea. Okay. Any further questions?
I just wanted to make a comment, I make this every year, because I had to do that. It was the worst part of my year. I hated it. Oh, now elections might be worse, but when, I'm scratching now, but when I had to do budget amendments, it was awful. I hated it, so thank you.
Thank you, Kathy.
It's an awful job.
Excellent job, for sure. So with that being said, we have a motion is in order to approve the budget amendments as presented.
Smoked, so moved.
Your support? Support. All in favor, say aye. Opposed? All right, motion is carried. Next item we have is the amendment to the amendment. So on March 22nd, 2024, the township received grant money in the amount of $232,140 from MDAR for the PDR program on the personal property in order to purchase the development rights and form an easement with the township. On March 21st of 24, the township also received match funds from the 5 northern communities that make up a portion of the PDR program. This amount was a total of $11,500. Together, the total amount of money granted to the first amount is $243,640. All of this grant money was deposited into Richmond Township's general fund on March 21st and March 22nd, 2024. On April 2nd, 2024, 2 wire transfers were made from the general fund account totaling the amount of $243,640 to Midstate Title Services Incorporated, located at 117 South Main Street, Vassar, Michigan, 48768. This is the company that handled the closing of the PDR between the state, the township, and the first amount. We will need a motion stating that the 23-24 budget will need to be amended to reflect the grant money, $243,640 that was received by the Township of Richmond into their general fund account on March 22nd, 2024. And then the full amount of $243,640 was paid out of our general fund account to Midstate Title Company out of Vassar, Michigan, 48768. All the documents attached show the transactions of the money coming into the township as income and then going out as an expense to the PDR purchase. That was the motion.
I'm going to go ahead and make that motion.
Okay. Do you have support? Or all in favor say aye. Aye. Roll call.
Yeah. So it'd be Cindy.
Aye.
Earl Cole.
Aye.
Christos.
Aye.
Kathy LaFontaine. Aye.
Motion passed. Thank you very much. Okay, next item we have is the reappointment of Paul Stewart to the Planning Commission. I am recommending that the board approves the reappointment of Paul Stewart to the Richmond Township Planning Commission with a term to expire on July 17, 2027. Motion?
I'll make that motion.
With support?
Support.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right, next item we have is the Drainage Committee discussion. Motion would be in order to discuss.
So moved.
Support? Support. Okay, so after our last meeting, we came up with the idea of putting together just the Drain Committee to get together maybe some of the local farmers to discuss priority of drains and work with the Drain Commission as to which drains should be done and in what order. Because I feel like, and even Drain Commission feels like looking at the MTA guidelines on various committees, there's many different options, but one that I think might fit this situation is an advisory committee. So it's literally just for advisory purposes. They can work with the Drain Commission to determine and prioritize county drain projects in the township. They can put set a number of people, maybe 5 people. You can do a 2-year term, much like we do some of our other committees. Because it's an advisory committee, there's no expenditures, no compensation. It's literally just advising. How does the board feel about putting together an advisory style committee?
I had Mr. Russ contact me, and he had already put together a committee.
He's been talking to a lot of people.
He wanted to start meeting already.
Right.
And just, slow down.
Pump the brakes on that one.
But my suggestion is I'd like to have Ken Gorky come in here and explain to us, because I think he had, when he was at the state level, I think he helped kind of put this together, made it how it was supposed to work, because that's where Randy got his idea from Ken. I would like him to come in and explain to the board how this should, operate, and then we could also ask him questions. Because like for this year, I think we've got everything kind of under control. We've worked with the county. The county seems like they're going to be doing a pretty good. And if they keep doing that and we get the county drains cleaned out in this township, we'll be set pretty good. And the other part would work with private drains. And I think Ken could help us lay this out, how it should be done. I don't think we should be just running a rough shot, because I'm not sure. I don't think we know how it's supposed to run.
Right.
So that would be my suggestion.
I like that idea.
I do think, we also have to prepare some bylaws for approval.
That's what I mean.
And in the bylaws, you're gonna have your proposed meeting date and time, how often are they gonna meet, like you said, the number of commission or committee members. I would presume there's going to be one liaison from the board on there, and I'm looking only because I feel like in this particular instance, he would be the most knowledgeable and bring.
Well, I think that's
He would have the
why
most-
Randy contacted
Right.
me, because he figured I'd be, kind of spearhead, which I told him I'm willing to help,
Yeah.
But I think he just moved a little too fast.
I could agree.
And as far as like bylaws and stuff, the state may have like a bullet point already that needs to be followed.
When I did the Recreation Commission bylaws, basically what I did, I just Googled them and went online and I looked at them and put some together and sent them out to Sharon and said, are these legal? What do we need to change? She sent me back a couple notes and then, prepared that word for it. But I do think having a committee is a great idea for that. I think that's something in our community, we saw all the people that showed up when we had discussion on this. And it's something that's really important, and for where we are, I think it's a great idea.
I like the idea of starting with Ken.
I was just gonna say, we should really consider August, September, in the fall, have them come and explain it all to us and what really
Yeah.
we need to do.
And I feel we have a little time because of, we're dealing with the county and they seem to be really interested in doing this too,
And Ken will back you down too, because he was just telling, remember at the actual meeting, he was backing Randy down.
Yeah.
Just like, you don't want to do it that way, you don't want to do it this way.
Okay. Well, I'm good with, I'll contact Mr.
And I know this will be a question as we're talking about this, but I know they talk about doing SADs depending on the private hearings and whatnot. Would this committee have, and we don't have to answer this tonight, but just wondering if this body would have something to do with presenting that to us and getting the petition signed, etc. I would like to see that incorporated in that.
Yeah, I would think we would have the final say or something like that.
Yep.
Yeah, exactly.
I know that's where Ken has the experience with the state side of things. He
Yep.
kind of understands that Eagle stuff a whole lot better than
For sure.
most people I've talked to, so. Okay.
It's a great idea.
Yeah, well, I'll get Ken here in either August or September, and we'll start picking his brain a little bit.
Great.
So, perfect. All right, thank you. So next item we have is the City of Richmond Fire tonight, we have the proposed Richmond Fire 5-year proposed contract. Some of you might wonder why we didn't do this earlier in the year, but I had built in the numbers in their next year's budget already, and the contract numbers fit with our budget, so there's no changes to our next year's budget. It's just bringing the contract to you. As everything else, a little bit of an increase. I can circle the money or not, but basically it's going from just over 40,000 to just over 46,000. That's what the contract's going. A lot of it's based on run volumes and cost per run and all that's built in here. What discussion or questions with the board have? We have City of Richmond and the fire department here tonight. If you have any direct questions, I'm sure they'd be happy to answer.
I'm just looking at the first page. Wait, come on up. And I don't have our map right in front of me, but you made the amendment to cross out within the 7 sections generally, and then including all properties along the school section road and south. That's the same amount of property?
Yeah, it's the same
Yeah.
as what our current contract is.
Yep.
And no changes there. Again, the basic format of our contract really hasn't changed since this one. Well, I can tell, probably the 1970s, if not more. And really, the changes that we're proposing really relate to the cost of trucks, which I'm sure Jeff can attest to, buying ambulances. We bought a fire engine 2 years ago for roughly $650,000. 2 years later, that's $850,000. So obviously, we can't solve that overnight, and the townships and the city can't afford to solve that overnight. But this contract does increase that equipment acquisition. That's one of the 2 main changes, taking that to $18,000 the first year, and then $1,000 additional $1,000 the year after that. And then the other area of change in the contract, when you look at the budget calculation sheet, there's a column that says emergency expense. That has been $200 for as far back as I can see. Our firemen or firefighters make currently $18 per run. Now that if they go and fight a house fire for 5 hours, 6, 7, 8 hours, it's $18. and so, but that has gone from, like in 2001, 2002, from $10 up to the new budget for 24-25 will be $20. So, we're very thankful for our firefighters. And as you saw tonight, 2 of your new EMS or MTs are multi-generational firefighters. We have 5 sets of fathers and sons in our department, and so we are very fortunate with the staffing that we have and the volunteers that keeps the costs down. But we do have to kind of incrementally increase that as well, because it's gone up from $10 and 24 years ago to 20 now, so we're just kind of increasing that. And again, we plan on the basis of how the funding works is based on that 5-year average.
So the increase to the equipment acquisition fund, really not that much of an increase at all. I'm wondering, do you have like a capital improvement plan for equipment that you're looking to purchase?
Yes,
and
we do.
How far out? Is this a sufficient amount? Or?
It's not, but we know that we can't just put it all on everyone at once. So we've done a better job the last 2 contracts of kind of ticking that up every year. And so the next contract, we're going to be doing that again.
Do you have a particular formula that you use for that?
We don't. We're just kind of slowly increasing it.
Yeah.
And as much as we feel is acceptable with everyone. We also supplemented recent purchases with ARPA funds. We have usually loans from like the general fund and paid it back through the equipment acquisition account.
What's in the equipment acquisition fund now?
Pardon?
How much money is in there? You probably gave it to us, and I'm being lazy. And I'm not looking.
That's all right. Well, we just purchased last year the squad, the second squad, and I'll let Chief try and talk a little bit about kind of the reasoning behind that. because it's a Tahoe, and it saves running we have essentially 3 large trucks, the engine, the tanker.
That's nice.
And the quint. So any wear and tear we can save on those trucks, the better. So we already had squad 1, which is the pickup truck. We just went to the squad 2, which is the Tahoe. Those run as much as possible so that we save on the larger trucks. When we purchased that Tahoe, it essentially zeroed out the equipment fund. So then we did get some grant money through the state for some fire equipment that $20,000 would have to put towards the equipment fund. And then when we sold the heavy rescue, that was about another $9,000. So we have about $29,000 in now. At the end of the first year of this contract, it'll be $101,000.
Great. Thank you.
Yeah, and actually, since the cost of the trucks have gone up dramatically in the last 3 years, really bad. And then usually trucks you would last about 15 years, you could get out of them without a problem at all with the number of runs. But you've increased those runs, obviously. So it runs a lot more. What we're trying to do with the squads, the first squad we had, the older pickup, we moved into a lot more extrication equipment in. That's the first one I would haul on any kind of car accident, anything like that. A lot of times some of these are small and minor. We can cancel the big truck before it even gets there. We have to run it sometimes on certain calls back because of a process that we have to follow, but we can cancel it in route or anything like that. The other thing is we added the second squad. We outfitted that with our Tahoe that's strictly set up for medical runs for us now. So that's the only thing
That's
we're
good.
working on. Lift assist. We don't do a lot in the townships, obviously. We don't run on anything other than life-threatening or when EMS calls us. There is some, and I'm sure Jeff's brought it up to you before, but there's some protocol changes that have come from the state that now if Jeff's rigs, let's say his closest rig is in Richmond and you have a runway up here, if they're more than 8 minutes away, they have to request us to. So that's why you see some of the running increases. It's a protocol from the state. It's the same with all the other townships, even when we run in the St. Clair County, it's the same thing. So.
Thank you.
That's it. No, that's okay. I'll get information. Kathy, do you have any questions?
I don't have any questions other than, I know you guys need trucks, but these guys are the boots on the ground.
I know.
Your wages,
That makes me sad.
that's where your next uptick should be, honestly.
We'd rather have.
I know.
I know
you would.
How old is your oldest truck?
The oldest truck right now is a 92, and that's our tanker. That's one of the priority trucks that's next to be replaced, and that's, for all intents and purposes, that's one of the main township trucks up in the city. Actually, it hauls water, so we're hauling it hauls 2,500 gallons. We'll probably replace it with about 3,000 gallons.
Do you guys have problems finding people? You know how like EMS went through a bad
Well,
spot since your department?
We used to, years back, we had a waiting list, and then it dwindled a little bit here and there, but now we're back up to 33 members right now.
Wow.
And
That's good.
for our bylaws, we can have up to 35. We have 8 new trainees though, so it's been.
But that's
the last
exciting.
couple of years, yeah, it's
Super much so.
quite nice.
Good. Okay. No further questions? Or anything else then? No. Okay. All right, well, thank you so much. So with all that information out there, a motion would be in order then to approve the proposed binding contract as presented by the City of Richmond Fire Station.
I'd like to make that motion.
Do you support?
I'll support it.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay. Thank you so much. Okay, next item we have is discussion of Tri-County Engineering and draft RFP language for Pathway Park.
Okay, so I had asked Lori to put this on the agenda on May 15th. The Richmond Township Advisory Board asked the Township Board if we could all have a meeting together to discuss what we're going to do with the 7 acres that we own contingent to Township Hall here. Tri-County had drawn out our master parks and recreation plan, and there are some pretty lofty goals on there. But we are currently, we only have so much money. We sold a Stone 80 and we've invested that money, and we're now at about $440,000. So at the meeting on May 15th, while we did not take a vote, we kind of polled everybody to see how they felt after a pretty lengthy discussion. And it felt like we were all in favor of doing, we had divided the pathway into 3 portions, A, B, and C, and we were all in favor of moving forward with constructing pathway part A and B with 2 pavilions. The cost of that was up at approximate $420,000, and we're at $440,000 now. So what that would mean, unless all craziness came upon us, which happens sometimes, is the township should be able to make that happen without taking any money from the general fund, still having a little bit of money left in there for seed money, and also knowing from our professionals that were there, our engineer, our planner, that having some development of a park at that site is going to help us get future grant money. So after that meeting, or during that meeting, I agreed that I would contact our attorney to see the best way to move forward. And, I wasn't sure because the money had been earmarked for recreation. Do we have to make a motion to spend the money, or how do we do that? So her suggestion was that if we're going to move, we move on asking or authorizing Tri-County Engineering to come up with an RFP for, for that service, for that development at the park. I have spoken with Sir Med, and I did ask him if this is something, is this possible that we could do this, like if he could get a calendar, he could start the RFP, is this something we could complete this year? So I'm going to turn this over to him, if I may, right now, and he can address that.
Thank you, Susan. So, just a clarification, there are 3 phases, starting south, A, B, and then C over here. So that the committee is recommending A and B only to be incorporated with the current features. And the associated construction estimate is about 420, just like Cindy said. And if we start, let's say the board approves it tonight, we need, from start to finish construction, we need about 6 months. That includes completion of design, permitting, bidding, and then bonds and insurance, and then the actual construction and restoration. So 6 months will put us back in December. So I would not recommend doing that this year. For a couple of reasons. The timing, it doesn't make sense for construction. And also, this is the busiest time of these contractors. If we ask for prices, they will be high. So my suggestion, recommendation to the board, if you would like to move forward, let's move forward getting the design and permitting ready, shovel ready, and then we advertise first quarter of next year for a spring start.
And how do you see that calendar working?
So if I dissect them, it's about 24 weeks from start to full construction completion. 5 weeks for design, 4 weeks for permitting, 4 weeks for permitting, bonds and insurance about 3 weeks, and then construction about 8 weeks.
And
If we don't see anything else.
so when you say 5 weeks for design, is that, and forgive me, I'm not sure about this, but to prepare the RFP, and then you would need a month? Is that a normal amount that you put that out there?
So, yeah, that completion of the
Okay.
construction plans and the specifications of contract documents. So it's ready for bidding, just what we did with the previous project. So preparing the plans for the contractors to construct the package and all the features included.
So So I guess what I'm here tonight asking is for authorization for Tri-County Engineering to move ahead with the process of preparing the RFP and the process for, I want to say getting the ball rolling. I know there's a far more professional way to say that, but in my head, that's what it is, on starting the development of the park. So,
Do we have a motion?
I make that motion.
Okay, we have support.
Get going.
All in favor, say aye.
thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Absolutely.
Here comes the salt. Should we wait until March? Is that what you're thinking?
Yeah, then we put a timeline on the motion. For next year?
Yeah.
Beginning January 1st of 25.
You said you'd need like 6 months to get it to that.
Can we revise it for first quarter? Bidding, ready for bidding in first quarter.
To authorize Tri-County Engineering to prepare the documents for bidding to happen in the first quarter of 2025.
That'd be-
I would revise my motion and
Still.
Still good?
Glad.
yes,
We're also in favor?
yes, I'll do it. Thank you.
Okay, great, thank you so much.
Is that an amended motion?
Yeah.
Just recorded as.
Okay. All right, we all good on that? Okay, fantastic. Items for next agenda?
We did one more, right? For some reason, what we did, it was my fault, I wrote down.
Sorry, I added one, but we took care of that on the meeting, I think we don't, so that might be why it's taking.
Yep, it was.
Okay. Items for next agenda, so we'll have, it'll be GFL discussion, it might be waste discussion.
Stephen, you hold it in Vicky.
Yeah.
I know when he can come. It doesn't matter from the next one or the end of
We're
the
not
year.
meeting next one.
Right.
No, the next meeting.
That's pretty much.
August.
I think he works a lot with the fair.
Oh, that's right.
Maybe we'll put it in September, October.
I don't
So
think
we have that.
I don't think we'll get it.
We'll let them settle down after the fair.
Yeah.
Okay, so Ken will be on here in a future meeting, we'll have waste line discussion, probably take drain off of there, we'll keep Richmond down. And as usual, if anybody thinks of anything, please let us know. Call to the board.
One thing, I don't, I have a concern with the intersection of Low Plank and 32 Mile. You know, where they did the new, that intersection, they got so many poles there now. You almost got to pull out into the intersection to see where, if anybody's come. Is there anything that we can, like, tell the county or just show a concern? I'm not saying we should be screaming at them, but just say, hey, is this being looked into or not? I've had other people tell me the same thing. It's ridiculous there.
Telephone poles or something?
Yeah, they call them big Edison poles, everything. They got so many wires all over. You pull, if you're pulling off Low Plank and wanting to go down 32 that way, you can't see nothing because of the poles. And I just,
What we can do is probably request to the traffic department that they can.
I mean, maybe they're already working on it or seeing that concern, because I've had people tell me that, and I've seen the same thing.
Right.
It just,
We can
maybe
do
it's
like
an
a
accident waiting to happen.
we can do like a site obstruction study.
Yeah.
Department can
Yeah.
go out there and they got something and see if it's
Yeah.
a legitimate site
But in
obstruction.
those situations, I don't know, we really don't have no authority or can be at least.
We don't, and we can certainly bring concerns to the.
Yeah, just like this culvert out here.
Right.
Wow.
You got that culvert out
That's
there.
right.
And responsibility, I don't know if we can call or tell them,
Yeah,
or, they may not know it's even there.
right.
Can you ask one more question or find out a lead for us to even go down? Because I'm getting a lot of people calling wanting to know why those storage yards are so, I know they got to place them both somewhere till they get them up. I've heard they've had 3 months and And then I heard they have three-year contracts. How are they going about the areas? Are they paying people to store the poles? Like right now, it's on
Flea market.
the flea market, yeah, in the back.
Right.
Like that also is,
It's all private property. I imagine they got a contract.
I know, but I'd like to know, like, for how long? Is that forever? Like one guy come in furious saying that they're gonna wait until we go all the way up to the top of the thumb and down. I mean, is it gonna be there for years? I mean, but I don't even know who to start calling to find out any information.
Yeah.
If you have any leeway in that, I was actually gonna ask John Moore if he knows anything about it because of.
Probably would, but.
Yeah.
So it's just the
Just the
storage places.
And how long they are gonna store them. I see they're at least targeting big places like Crystal, is it
Yeah.
Crystal Lakes? Yeah, where the motor city's out.
Yeah.
Isn't it on 32?
Yeah.
Yeah, they're also a huge storage facility for them.
I can definitely find out.
Some people don't like to stack up like that.
Right.
It's a high store.
Yeah, unfortunately, it's a
They gotta
contract
go
between them and
somewhere,
private
I know.
owners, so it's not really going to be useful thing, but I can definitely get some details for you.
So that I can have answers to.
Sure, okay. What I have for call the board, reach out to Christensen's, let them know that they can farm this land and for this year. The cost still $630, is the board okay with that cost that they would pay us? And they could be a problem, just want to let the board know on that. Anything else for call the board today?
I just wanted to mention, as always, what an honor it is for the EMS to come here and swear their new members in front of us, and there was such a big group of people, and I, want to have an opportunity to thank them and their families, because Jeff is right, it's probably a crazy life at times, and, it's amazing how much that has grown since I have been here. Vern has been on the board longer than all of us, so you've probably seen, my first year was 2004.
2000.
Yeah, yeah. And so you've seen a lot of changes, and it's just really impressive to see all those people here.
It's huge, it's the biggest one I've seen.
I'm like, man, we should be a party or something,
Right,
so.
that is pretty
That was
good.
really, I just wanted to thank Jeff, because I tell him every year, that's like one of my favorite things that we get to do.
Yeah,
We get to, kind of enjoy the spoils of all of his efforts.
sure. That is amazing. Thank you for that.
Yep.
Okay, if there's nothing else for call the board, then we'll go down to general public comment.
Good evening. Actually, mine is a little flashback to your earlier discussion about GFL. We have an agreement, I'm not sure with whom, that we don't use those big containers, that they have put the garbage in for a couple of reasons. One, we don't always just have 1 or 2 bags to put in there. And two, I don't want to carry that thing for over 700 feet. That's how long my driveway is. That's very difficult for me to pull. So I just put garbage bags in the back of my truck, and they put the garbage bags out in front. And they pick them up without any problem. I want to make sure that that's still going to be acceptable for this new group.
And that's acceptable currently, right?
It's acceptable currently, yes.
Okay, thank you. Thank you. Okay. Any other public comment?
I'm sorry, I was looking at the handout. And I wanted to update you too about the local land control issue. As of November, the state will be controlling windmill and solar installations. We may not get enough signatures to put it on the ballot this year. So I do have petitions with me. We had until August to get them maybe on the ballot, maybe for 2026. So that was the first thing I wanted to update you on, but as of November, the state will get control. The second thing is, and Pat here has brought this to our attention last month about election issues that are coming up. This is the pending legislation. We all know, Pat's been on top of this for the past couple of years, really. We all know that voter confidence in our elections is at an all-time low. But since Pat brought it up this time, I've been to a couple meetings in Lansing again, and it is not good. We know that our clerks are doing a fantastic job in the face of ever-expanding duties, and they are about to expand some more. Our Secretary of State has initiated this stack of legislation that will remove common sense checks and balances and weaken the integrity of our elections. These bills are going to strip our local government of control in elections. And it's just the beginning. At the same time, this board will be held financially and legally liable for any perceived violations of these new laws. Senate Bill 603 and 4 make recounts more difficult and even prohibit recounts based on claims of fraud. Senate Bills 401 through 4, the Michigan Voting Rights Act, is even worse. These bills right now, the Voting Rights Act, are stalled in the Senate. So it's really important, and I apologize to the board for coming last minute. These bills have been sitting in the Senate since March of last year. All of a sudden, within the past 6 weeks, they've gone to through committees in the Senate, passed over the House. The one set of bills is going to be voted on by the House and passed about the recounts, but the other one is stuck right now in the Senate because they are getting pushed back. So we did put together a resolution that we were hoping, I know I hate to do this last minute again, but if we could get it passed tonight, Pat's going to read it to you. Because this Michigan Voting Rights Act, what it does is it's going to prohibit local governments from imposing any practices that lead to a disparity in voter participation for members of protected classes. In other words, any person who feels disenfranchised, especially if they're in a protected class, can file a complaint. Voters that need assistance can request it in certain precincts. I don't think ours yet, but may be required to provide assistance during elections, including language assistance for non-English speaking voters, curbside voting, like the whole early voting, everything, rides to polls, they would all be at our expense. And I feel like what I've heard, the clerks associations are not emphasizing the impacts of these bills to their members. So that's why we felt it was important, after I've been to a couple of these hearings, we felt it was important to make sure that we're aware of it, because we're just concerned about, our hometown, our fellow citizens, and our most basic right to vote. I do know it's short notice, but I sent this resolution to the Republican representatives on the Elections Committee in the House, Representative DeBoyer and Representative Michelle Smith, who have both been clerks before, so they are very well versed in the election process. And they encouraged us and supported us to bring this resolution to the board, and they felt that aside from just citizens calling our representatives, if they got notice from clerks and local boards that they were concerned about this, that might be more of a pushback, and we can put this off for even longer. Okay, so I think I used up my time, but Pat was going to read the resolution to us. I'll leave you, TJ printed this out for you, but I give you a summary, but this is the whole.
Is the resolution somewhere for us to see?
Did I read that
It
to you?
was a second.
It was the one paper.
I'm so sorry.
Maybe I didn't.
Yeah, no, okay, I'm so sorry. No, maybe it's, my apologies. Yes, I apologize.
Sorry, I had pushed out of high school this Senate. That's what I
Okay, the resolution to protect the integrity of local elections and oppose state outrage.
Excuse me, can you speak over?
Sure. Thank you. And I'm Pat Bartosowitz, and one of the things I wanted to say is I appreciate having the opportunity to work on voting, because I have learned a whole lot about the whole process. So thank you for that opportunity. It's meant a lot. It has actually pushed me even more to want to make sure that all the hard work that you do is continuing to do it so that our integrity of our vote counts. And I know you gals very high on that necessity. So this is a resolution to protect the integrity of local elections and oppose state overreach. Whereas the right of American citizens to govern themselves is a bedrock principle recognized in the Declaration of Independence, and whereas Article 1, Section 4 of the United States Constitution grants the state legislature's authority and obligation to protect and oversee the election process and its citizens' right to participate in them, and whereas Article 2, Section 4 of the Michigan State Constitution makes it clear that all citizens who are registered to vote have a fundamental right to vote without the use of any means which denies or interferes with that right, and any citizen shall have standing to bring action in order to enforce this right. And whereas ensuring the integrity of elections is essential to continuing the representative Republican form of government which America and its states now enjoy. And whereas our voter rolls are the foundation of free and fair elections, and whereas current registration in the state of Michigan is currently at 104.9% of eligible voters. So we have more people registered than we have people living here. Whereas the Michigan legislature is currently proposing new laws that remove common sense checks and balances from election procedures and which undermine the confidence of voters in election outcomes, therefore undermining the very foundation of our government. And whereas recounts and audits of elections are normal procedures vital to ensuring citizens and candidates that votes were cast and counted legally and accurately, and which procedures will be undermined by pending state bills, Senate State Bills 603 and 604. And whereas State Senate Bills 401 to 404, known as the Michigan Voting Rights Act, if passed, will allow special considerations for certain citizens of protected classes to seek legal recourse against the offending municipality and require local governments to provide special assistance such as language, translation, curbside voting, the rides to the polls, placing redundant and unnecessary burdens financially and legally on local election clerks and governing bodies and their citizens. Therefore, be it resolved that we call on the Secretary of State and the legislatures of Michigan to take necessary actions immediately to clean the voter rolls in the most expedient manner possible, and be it resolved that we urge the Michigan legislature to oppose both pending packages of bills known as Senate Bills 401 to 404 and SB 603 to 604.
Thank you very much. How's the board feeling with
I make a motion to adopt that resolution.
we need to sign that resolution number?
And I'm not sure which one that would be. I know I had read about some of those, and as I was reading, it was going,
No, it
it
seems-
can't even be real.
Right. I just want to make sure we get the right
Yeah.
numbering on that.
It would be 2024-09.
Okay, so a motion would be in order then to approve resolution 2024-09, resolution to protect the integrity of local elections and oppose state overreach.
And I make that motion.
Do you support?
I will support that.
All in favor, say aye. All right, motion is carried.
Thank you. I will pass that on to each committee member of the election committees in both the House and the Senate and the Secretary of State, and then I encourage everybody here to reach out too and let them know you're concerned about it. And I appreciate it. Okay?
Thank you.
And next time I'll try not to do it last minute.
Okay, yeah, no preparation. But no, it's fantastic. Thank you so much for bringing that. Okay,
that Word format to the clerk?
Yes.
Thank you so much.
Yep.
No worries. Any other general public comment tonight?
Now that you voted, is it appropriate to move on? Thank you again. Thank you.
Thank you, Rick. Okay. Anybody else?
Yeah, let's see.
I'd like to talk about my property, 34901. I got a letter in the mail to a court. I went to court 3 weeks ago, and then I was supposed to go Tuesday, but whoever attorney that you have, they didn't know about it. So now they pushed it to July 9th. We've been back and forth with my property over there several times. I came in last year, told me everything was good, because you finally found out that I had a special land use, which before that, you kept stating that I didn't have one. Now you found out I have a special land use, and I'm here, I want to rectify it. Why should our tax dollars pay for attorney and everything else? I talked to whoever I had to talk to every time, and just trying to see what can be done here. I'm excited about the park though, and I'd like to donate my guys and equipment on moving dirt and whatever it costs for the park. You're with Tri-County? All right, so I'm with DRT Enterprises. We do a lot of work with you guys. That's what we do. But at the same time, like I said, back to my property, you know, I feel that it's kind of, you know, I mean, we've been in this town for 35 years. I own property all over Richmond, Richmond Township, Elmont. I think I've been complicit with everything. And I just want to know where we stand, you know?
Okay.
We did get something in the mail, and I broke my leg in January. I was down for, I don't know, 2.5 months. We do not store anybody's recreational vehicles. They're either one of my 7 boys that I have with my wife. We have a large family. I own a fitness center in Richmond for almost 20 years. You know, I've always gave money to the schools, helped coach, even when my kid wasn't on the team. And I feel like this is just a real, you know, kick in the butt, you know? I'm kind of upset. But, I mean, if we got to go to court, we got to go to court. But I just, I came to the meeting today because, you know, I think I want to be in this and see what's going on, and see if I can help out anyway with the community, with the township, moving forward. So, any comments?
Well, glad you're excited about the park.
I'm sorry?
I said, glad you're excited about the park.
I'm very excited
Good to
about the
hear.
park. You know, we have tons of grandkids and coming up and everything else, and, you know, I'm all for the town, I always have been. The chief, fire chief was here, he'll tell me what I'm all about.
Right.
Trend, everybody in this town. So, I mean,
I think the best thing to do is to contact the township attorney for any updates at this point.
okay, so I tried to contact the attorney. It's been a month, no call back.
Can I interrupt? I'm sorry, I don't mean to interrupt, but I've called and left at least 6, 7 messages over the last 4 weeks, maybe 5 weeks, not one return phone call.
Is your attorney contacted our attorney?
No, when I went to court, the judge more or less told me, don't even bring your attorney. You take care of it. And while we were there, I don't know if you guys know, but it's an arraignment, so they set bail.
It's a criminal offense,
It's a criminal offense.
up to 90 days.
Whatever. And, you know, it could have been a $2,000 bond. There was people in there that were getting $1,000, $500
One guy got
bonds.
$5,000 out.
And when I was up there, she did it for $100. And they had to defense attorney there from the county, and he looked over everything. And like I said, I mean, I don't know. I don't know what's going to happen. I don't want to, attack the township. It's sue you guys.
Right, well, like, in lieu of giving you wrong information here and now at the general board meeting, I really would suggest that your attorney contact the township attorney, let the two attorneys talk and see what they come up with.
But why do we have to have an attorney?
I've already tried to contact the attorney. There's no call back. Actually, I talked to her secretary, and she didn't even know about the court date. So I think that's what, I don't even think she would have showed up if I wouldn't have called. I'm just trying to do what's right. Anytime you guys have contacted me, I've contacted you.
Okay.
I bought the place was a mess. There's 55-gallon drums of paint and oil in that old back barn. And I've been getting rid of it with the right way. Because we do a lot of site cleanup, hazardous. There's a lot of hazardous material over there.
Okay. Well,
Vern had just asked a question, and there's one thing that we could say is that you're under the
You might find out that you're going to have to go back to court again. It's going to be your best option, because it's gotten to a point where it's the only way you're going to get it resolved, is that the judge will also, the judge is not going to be one-sided.
No.
They're going to be fair. But by what we found here, I don't know if I have the right to show you this or not.
Yeah, he can even have that.
Does
There
he have
is
a
no
copy of it?
special land use on your property.
I'm sorry?
There is no special land use on your property.
There's a
variance.
A variance given to that property. And the variance has a map on what you were supposed to follow. And by this, we can give you a copy of this.
Oh, yeah.
Public record.
Do you want me to go copy it?
Yeah, I mean, if I hadn't had it by now, I
think you do have it from the last time. However, I think you were under the assumption it was a special land use, and I hesitated. When you asked me if you had a special land use, I said, yes, I knew you had a use, but it's a variance. It's a whole different animal. Kind of works in the same way, but you'll be able to read what was written, and that's all that you have on that property.
Right.
So you would have to abide by.
Should I sell it? You told me it's, do this, do that, I do it, you told me everything's good, and then a couple of votes later, there's a problem. So where's the limit? I'm willing to, where's the limit?
As you know,
You want the court to figure out the limit? Is that what it is?
you're too far gone. We have to go to court. Your
That's
ticket
right.
can't come out of court, and that's where we can get into the discussion, and you could, ask about all that, because that's all well within your rights.
here now is not really we can't really get into that stuff, but yeah, you actually go to court and figure a lot of that out. That's probably the best bet out.
And
Also, we have to go.
when we've gone in the past with people, they've always had their attorney, and their attorney worked it out with our attorney. Never really did we talk to
Well, I think on the 9th, you're not going to go before the judge.
No.
You'll step down. And
in the mediation groups.
If we can hammer it out between ourselves,
Right.
the judge will just put a rubber stamp on it and say, okay,
It says we're a property zone for business.
yeah.
So it's not zoned for business. Because when I purchased the property, I
It's
came
a
in.
non-conforming piece.
When I purchased the property, I came in and talked to Mrs. Bricker. And everybody knows what I do. And I said, can I run my construction company out of here? And she said, yes. I said, do I need anything in writing? No. 10 years later, there's a problem.
And bring that up when you go to court too. I mean,
You know, I mean, I don't get it. If it's just, it's a hassle. I mean, I just bought a piece on Gully Road that supposedly wants to go commercial with your planning guy. I was told, and that's why I bought it. But before I draw prints and everything else, you know, I mean, what do we do here?
Like Vern said, we'll be at court and we'll be able to get into the room and
Because, I mean, right here, it says property zone for business, you know, to erect a pole barn, and I'm conforming to this item right here.
again, that's something to bring up in court. I mean, right now, this is just general public comment. We can't hash that out here, but court's gonna be the place to hash that out.
But I guess our biggest concern is why did it have to go to court? When we received the letter, I called and spoke with Lori, said we really need some more time because unfortunately the weather was horrible. There was snow and this and that. He broke his leg. I explained that, you know, just give us a little more time. I was told no problem. Next thing you know, you had a court date in the mail, which was like, what, a month and a half, 2 months later, a month and a half later, I think? I'm not exactly sure the exact dates. I mean, a simple phone call would have been nice.
Yeah, no, it says explanation of variance granted for ZBA use only.
I guess it's probably usage.
So what's ZBA stand for?
the zoning board of appeals.
I don't know. It just seems like it's a waste of money,
Everybody's tax dollars.
but, and a hassle.
Okay.
Unnecessary spent money.
Thank you
time.
for your time.
Thank you.
Anything?
Any other general public comment tonight? Hearing none, motion to adjourn. Support, please. All fair side? Aye.